And these are the ones that you tend to be showing.
Yeah, we're showing.
After this, you've got Fairbanks.
We have Fairbanks coming in, the Mark of Zorro, which is actually the first film in a series of swashbuckler films that Fairbanks made. Prior to the making of the Mark of Zorro, he was a really popular, very, very popular actor who did mostly comedies, social dramas, and then once he hit upon this particular film, which was an enormous success back in 1920, it became a formula for which many, many other films, for the rest of his career basically, were in this kind of genre. And it's actually the kind of film that people can have a lot of fun with today. And you can see some of the derivatives of the Fairbanks character in Zorro in films like Superman and Batman and all those films that we have kind of a character with a dual identity, you know, the kind of the meek milquetoast character followed by the really brave hero. Yeah. That's what happens in the Mark of Zorro. That's what happens in Superman, the kind of Clark Kent Superman character, and Bruce Wayne and Batman character.
Right.
We'll see this go all the way back.
This is the wellspring that you go back to discover the film language.
That's right.
And story and character.
Yeah,
and
that's
archetype and genre.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you have other? You know, I know you have a large collection of silent films.
Well, I've been a real collector and a fan of silent cinema for a great deal, a long, long time, and we are certainly going to be drawing on some of the films that either I have been familiar with or people who have talked with me about great silent cinema. We've shown films using the silent clowns like Buster Keaton and Harold Lloyd. We hope to be able to screen more of them, as well as Laurel and Hardy.
And talk about the archetypes. I mean, Harold Lloyd and Buster Keaton define comedy for the next 100 years in terms of what you do in film, the physical apparatus of comedy.
The physical apparatus, but again, many of these great silent clowns and many of these characters who had a series of films that basically used the same character type. These films were developed in a way that got you laughing with them, not at them, and that they used a great deal. It was very physical, but they used their character in a way that made you feel like it made sense, and even though it was exaggerated, it was part of who they were. It wasn't just a simple gag, but it was flowing out of the character that was there, whether it was Chaplin's Little Tramp, or the stone face of Buster Keaton, or the everyday guy of Harold Lloyd, or whatever. And they did all their own stunts. What's amazing when you see some of the stuff, we talked about the makeup of Chaney, the physicality of Fairbanks. The same thing applies to Keaton and Chaplin and all the rest. They did all their own stunts. This is before we had digital. This is before we had special computer.
You rehearse an enormous amount to make it look easy and natural.
You rehearse
without the stuntmen, because they're not going to be doing the work for you. If the house is going to fall on top of you, as Keaton did, and he goes through the door,
and you better get it right.
You better get it right. Yeah.
Or you're not going to be back for the next movie.
Right. How about the female stars? Because you have such incredible, female stars in that era. I mean, some of the best known. Greta Garbo started in silent film.
That's right.
And Joan Crawford.
Joan Crawford, yeah. Greta Garbo, Gloria Swanson.
Gloria Swanson, who made so many films.
Yep, so many films. We are certainly planning that as our series goes on, and we really hope that we'll be able to bring in a whole new generation of interested people in silent cinema. We'll be using a lot of these actresses in future films. In our last series a few months ago, we screened The Flesh and the Devil, which was an early Greta Garbo film, and it just is remarkable. You could see the kind of beginnings of her career, although this was not the very first film she made. But she's, a beautiful actress who is quite an actress, and we're going to use those films.
And one of the problems is, since you can get everything on video or DVD,
yeah.
you lose the experience of going out to a theater and actually seeing how these would have affected people and how they're really put together. You don't get the same experience if you just assume that someday you're going to rent these. It really helps to go out and see this whole experience happen with an accompanist.
Well, yeah, plus the other big factor that makes the movies different from watching it on your tiny little screens and on your iPhones and all these other new
Mark of Zorro on your cell phone.
That's right,
just
that's
doesn't
right.
work, yeah.
Doesn't work because not only are you losing the wide impact of seeing everything in great detail, and also with regard to the silent cinema having the musical accompaniment, but there's another piece to it as well. And that is you're seeing it with a community of other people. And there's something about the fun of being there when things happen and everybody feels the electricity, feels the excitement, and everybody kind of joins in, and you know you're doing it with an audience who cares about what's happening on the screen, and that kind of envelops you in a way that you can't do in your living room alone.
Right. Have you done these around the country as well? Have you done?
Well, not one of the things that it's been my pleasure to have seen is some of these films in different parts of the country, but primarily at film festivals that have also been keenly interested in keeping the early cinema alive and bringing it to new generations. The Telluride Film Festival that is screened every Labor Day weekend in Colorado is really a film festival, and they make it their business to highlight early cinema, current cinema, and future cinema in the form of student cinema. So they cover the whole spectrum, and there we've seen some great
It's a
silent
great
films.
idea. I mean, this could, as a model for other film festivals to embrace the history of film along with the new work that they're showing. I mean, it's something that is a great opportunity for film festivals, I think.
Well, you know, the old issue of those people who are not familiar with history are doomed to repeat it. I think what we really want to make sure that everybody understands, and I think people appreciate, is that there's continuity here. Yeah. That there's a very wonderful history about cinema that goes back, way back to the end of the last century, the century before, around 1890 to 1900, when, you know, first real film is usually credited to
Lumiere Brothers?
Yeah, well, 1903 actually, the Great Train Robbery.
Yeah. Life of a Fireman.
Life of a Fireman, back from the Edison studio and stuff of that sort. Right. But I think what we're saying is that there's a line here that goes all the way down, and people who get interested, who are lovers of film today, are going to be pleasantly surprised how the films of the early years still have relevance. They're not curios. They're wonderful fun. They make people laugh. They make people cheer.
And they're great works of art.
And they're great works of art.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
thanks, Marty. I hope people do take advantage of it. So
I hope they come.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So Monday nights at the Coolidge Corner Theater, an ongoing series. This will probably be doing for years, I hope.
We hope.
So keep an eye on it. And if you get a chance, just go out and see some silent film and encourage your local film festival to program some of these as well. All right. Thanks again.
Thank you, Tim.
And we'll see you at the Coolidge.